this job, you try to review as many movies as you can. Sometimes that doesn't mean all of them, but you don't spoil them. Star Wars, Deadpool, Batman v Superman. Okay, that's enough. Khalil, people need spoilers. It's too late. X-Men already came out. But you promised.
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
Some people haven't even seen the movie yet. They know the risk. Sometimes I want to punch you in your perfect bearded face. If we're gonna fight, let me at least tell my mother I'm not gonna be home for dinner. Oh, that's cute. What's her name? Danielle. What? Dude, no way. Same here. What? Yeah, dude, that's like totally awesome. You know what? We don't have to fight now. I don't want to fight you anymore. Alright, cool. Well, I already filmed the spoiler review, so you wanna just go ahead and play it? Yeah, why not?
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Hello, I'm Khalil Hacker, and thank you for accidentally tuning in to the very first spoiler-filled episode of Slacker Reviews. And this spoiler-filled review, of course, is for Captain America Civil War, or Captain America 3, or Avengers 3, or Iron Man 18. Are we that far? 18? Something like that. And I know it's a little bit late. It's pretty late. This review's pretty late, not gonna lie. X-Men Apocalypse just came out. I'm a little behind, but work, I do that. So thank you for viewing this. I know everyone's probably tired of hearing about Civil War at this point, but you know what? I told you I was going to do it, so here I am. And a heads up, there's not going to be a set layout for this review. Sometimes I like to have it scripted, I like to have it structured in a way, although it might not seem like it sometimes. But this one's just going to be me spewing about certain things that I just straight up couldn't talk about in a spoiler-free review. So let's do this. The first big thing I want to talk about, spoiler-wise, is the one really big thing that I could not talk about in the spoiler-free one. Nobody ever dies. No one. No one has, died and stayed dead in the MCU. I mean, yes, there's the argument of Quicksilver died in Age of Ultron. No one gave a crap about Quicksilver. No one cares that he's dead. There hasn't been, a very impactful death. Other than Clark Gregg's character, Coulson? Yeah, Agent Coulson. But they brought him back in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show. And I was 90% certain that Cap was going to die in this movie. I was so sure that Captain America was going to die. Because in the comics, he dies after the events of Civil War. A fight between him and Iron Man happens. Cap is like, you know what? I need to be taken in. And then Crossbones, bam! Shoots him dead. But instead we kill off Crossbones in the first 5 minutes, which was a really good scene. Granted, that was a great action scene. I loved everything leading up to the Crossbones explosion. And from the trailers, I kind of knew that the Crossbones fight was going to be the reason for Civil War just, starting. But anyway, Cap's alive, very much so. And remember, we all thought Rhodey was gonna die? Like in the trailer, we see Rhodey flying, and then he gets shot down, and he Peggy Hills back down to the ground. And then we were like, well, why would they show his death in the trailer? And he was that one character that was like, he's somewhat expendable. Maybe they will kill him. But no, we didn't kill anybody in this one. I really like what the MCU's doing, I really do. But the thing is, as these movies go on, it's getting harder and harder to believe that none of these people are going to die in any of these situations. And I thought that maybe Rhodey or Cap were going to be the ones to finally bite the dust, because they don't have any movies announced yet. You know what I mean? Because, we know Iron Man's not gonna die, because he was just announced to be in Spider-Man's movie. We know so many characters aren't going to die, because they're supposed to be in this next movie. Which is another little problem that I have with the MCU. Just stop announcing things. Stop telling us things, because that takes away from the excitement of watching these two characters fight, because it's like, okay, well, if one of them wins, then I know for a fact Iron Man's going to be alive, so either they're both going to be alive, or Cap's gonna die. And I was really excited for the concept of Captain America dying. I honestly was, because in the comics, yeah, he dies, Winter Soldier takes his place, and it was setting it up in such a way that's like, that's plausible. I feel like that's something that could happen. But I do respect that this is the first Marvel movie where I did feel like someone was going to die. There were scenes where I was like, I don't know, man. I don't think he's gonna make it out of this one. And I respect that a lot, because it's just really good writing on their part, because there was a lot of great tension in those fight scenes. So let's talk about the centerpiece of this movie. The scene that everyone bought a ticket to see. The airport fight. I thought this was one of the best fight sequences of all time. This was amazing. This is every comic book fan's dream to see play out. Just superhero against superhero in an awesome battle. And it wasn't like as dark as the comics were, but I was totally okay with it, because the quips that were made, the witty banter that was done between characters, was just so perfect. It was so amazing. And then the Giant Man reveal. Scott Lang as Ant-Man, turning into Giant Man. That made my life. Never, growing up, would I have ever thought a Giant Man would make it to the screen. I mean, Ant-Man even, but seeing Giant Man just happen without like a huge announcement about it. Like, I didn't see any trailers showing it. Although after the movie came out, I think they did show trailers of that. But still, watching this movie, not knowing Giant Man was going to happen, was perfect. And when they're fighting, and Scott Lang's like, well, there's this one thing that I've been trying out, but you know, it just hasn't worked out very well. He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. Giant Man, he's gonna turn into Giant Man.
The #1 movie in the world.
Woo! Giant Man. The cool scene. And then when Spider-Man swings around, he's like, hey guys, you see the old movie Empire Strikes Back? Hell yeah, man. One thing I mentioned in the spoiler-free review that I said I was going to mention here was the two characters that, like, in this big airport fight, didn't really feel like they had a motive to be there. Like, everyone had a reason to be in this fight, except for two people. Those two people, to me, were Ant-Man and Hawkeye. Ant-Man, now, like, he gets the really cool introductory scene where he's fanboying out about meeting Captain America and Scarlet Witch. But the way they set up his character in the Ant-Man movie, it didn't make sense that he was just gonna say, okay, yeah, I'll risk my life to be in this giant superhero fight. Why not? Because he has a daughter at home. Why would he do that? He's got a little girl. He's got to look after. It didn't make sense to me that he would put his life on the line knowing that he has his daughter at home. I mean, if they just gave him one sentence of dialogue. Oh, he fell off the wagon again. We found him in prison, and this was our cop-out of him being in prison. Just something small. I did hear that they wrote a scene of Ant-Man at home that would give him more motivation. But the thing was, when they were writing Civil War, Ant-Man hadn't come out yet. So the scene that they wrote for Civil War didn't really match up with the chronology of Ant-Man. The other character not having so much motivation was Hawkeye. It didn't make sense to me that he just left retirement just to join this fight. Because the way they set him up in Age of Ultron was he's this family man that doesn't really want to do this anymore, but, you know, it pays the bills. And in this one, they're like, oh, yeah, Hawkeye's in retirement, spending time with his family. And then out of nowhere, Hawkeye's like, here I am. They asked me, so I came back. I don't know. But I'm fine with it. Again, I'm fine with it. It makes it seem like I'm hating on this movie. It's just the little complaints that I couldn't talk about in the spoiler-free review. Don't get me wrong. I love this movie. I love all the characters in it. It was a great time. But, you know, he kind of just shows up to save Scarlet Witch. Like, out of nowhere. Like, they asked me to be here, so I'm here. And the Scarlet Witch and Vision thing. Like, when Stark has Vision watching over Scarlet Witch. And the stuff between them. A lot of people hated that. A lot of people hated the sweater-wearing Vision trying to flirt with Scarlet Witch, but I kind of liked that. I thought that was kind of cool because, you know, they're together in the comic books. They're married. They have kids. And it was nice watching Vision just wearing a sweater, making some dinner for Scarlet Witch. It was a cute little scene. I will say, though, that scene made me think of things I should not have been thinking about during that movie. I was watching it, and I was just thinking to myself, oh, Vision's making her food. And then he says the line, I have no need for food. And it's like, well, what if he did eat? has a mouth, he has teeth. What would happen if he consumed food and then digested said food? Would Vision poop? Is Vision able to poop if he were to eat? Does Vision have a butthole? But anyway, you know my opinions on the other characters. You know where I stood on Iron Man's side. You know where I stood on Cap's side. You know how I feel about Black Panther, Spider-Man, all of the exciting new characters. But the scene that I loved the most in Civil War is when they're in Siberia. When Iron Man goes to talk to Cap and Bucky, and he's like, alright, just come home, come on. And then that video plays. They're around that computer screen. That video starts up, and you're like, why are they watching this? And then Tony says, hey, I know that road. Then it hits. It hit me. It hit the entire theater when he said those words. Everyone was just like, no, don't do this. And then it showed the scene that we see at the very beginning of the movie.
No, God!
Winter Soldier shooting this car down,
No, God, please, no!
opening the door. There's Tony Stark's parents.
No!
Punches Tony Stark's dad in the face to death.
No!
And he loops around, and you're like, no. And he wraps his hand around his mom's neck, and the camera pans up.
No!
That scene hurt everyone. And that's amazing, because that is character building. We gave a crap about that scene because we knew how much that scene meant to Iron Man. Because we've seen him throughout the last 8 years. We know he has parent issues. We know that he's flawed because his parents died when he was at a young age. We know how... We know how impactful that is to him. And that impacts us. And that was one of the greatest scenes in cinema history, because the MCU is the first cinematic universe. It's the first time we've ever tried this, and they did what a movie cinematic universe should be able to do. Make us latch onto a character, watch that character change, and then feel for that character when he's hurt. And Jesus Christ, did we feel for him. And then he turns to Cap. And he says, did you know? He's not lying at this point. He's not gonna lie to Tony. He says yes. It slaps him onto the ground, and then he goes after Bucky, and then Cap's all like, you can't do this, he's my friend. And he was like, so was I. And that fight scene was so intense, because you know no one is holding anything back. Cap is trying to protect his best friend. Iron Man is trying to get revenge for his parents. And Bucky is just trying to stay alive. Robert Downey Jr. was just so great in that scene. He played it so well. One of the lines that he had was just so awesome. When Cap is trying to stop Tony from fighting. And he just looks at him and he's like, he killed my mom. Yeah, that is a character. That is a person. You created a person. Marvel has made a person. At the end of the fight, you know, when they're all done, just breathing heavily, that shot is just so beautiful. The shot of those 3 supermen, exhausted, was amazing. And Cap picks up his shield, he shoves it into Tony's arc reactor, and he twists it. Oh, man. Is that an ending to a fight? Takes his shield, and him and Bucky are getting out of there. Tony's on the ground, unable to use his suit, and he's just like, you don't deserve that shield! My dad made that shield! And Cap just looks down. Dunk! And he drops it.
Damn!
And it was all put together by the villain of the movie, Now, a lot of people are saying the villain in this movie was a little pointless. Baron Zemo, played by Daniel Gruhl. That's his name, yeah, Daniel Gruhl. I love Daniel Gruhl. He was great in Inglourious Basterds. And I was wondering how big of a role he was going to play in this, and it's not very big up until that final scene. He's the puppet master. And I loved this villain. I really did, because he was the first villain in the MCU that was just a character. He was a human being. He was a person who was upset about his family dying. See him on the phone a little bit, and you're like, oh, he's calling his family? I guess that's kind of cool. But then the last scene of him on the phone, you realize that's a voicemail message from his wife. You know, like Jesse Pinkman and his girlfriend in that regard. It's like, oh, dude. I thought he was well done. I thought he was a well done villain. He was a villain in the MCU that made sense. Someone that I could understand, I could get behind. He wasn't evil just to be evil. And he's not dead. So that means other than Loki, we have like 2 villains that aren't dead now that can return in future movies, which is also a good thing. The fight didn't just end because their moms had the same name. The fight was a fight. So the movie ends, the teams are still separated, Cap somehow rescues the rest of the superheroes from the underwater prison. Like, how did he get there? How did he know that was there? It's just, there's so many questions of like, just that 20-second scene of him being at that prison and getting everyone out. Like, who let him, it kind of just ended. Which has always been a big problem with me with these movies. They just tend to end. And I get it. I get it. It's a continuous thing. By the end of it, it's going to be this 50-hour-long movie. And then there will be an ending. But it just really upsets me when a movie just kind of like, we're done. Great movie. But there's nothing climactic about the ending. Like right before the credits roll. I don't know, it just bugged me a little bit. And I really hope that these teams stay separated. I hope that this movie was Road to Civil War and that this wasn't the entire Civil War, that we're not done with this plotline yet. I hope people go after Cap and Bucky and try to get Winter Soldier. I hope that there's still tension between all of these characters now. Because there is that letter at the end of the movie that Tony Stark receives from Captain America. And he basically says, sorry bro, still friends? Hopefully this movie does have impact. It was a great movie though, all on its own. I loved this movie. I really want to see it a few more times. But this was honestly in like the top 3 greatest superhero movies of all time. This is everything a superhero movie should be. But I did think the after credit scenes were a little pointless. The Black Panther one was kind of cool. It's alright. I was okay with it because it kind of shows us what Black Panther might be about. I feel like it's going to be them trying to protect Bucky in Wakanda, although I could be totally wrong, that Bucky being frozen again might mean nothing. I don't know. But the Spider-Man thing, where he's at home and he sees the little thing flash on his belt, I don't know what they're trying to do there. Like, we know Spider-Man's coming because you announced it. Because you announced it already. Just stop announcing things and maybe we'll be surprised by things. Thank you for watching. Check out my spoiler-free review if you want to know like my honest opinion and you want my grade on it. But this was more of a spoiler talk. I think that's what I'm going to title this, is just spoiler talk. Because I'm just talking with you. I'm just chatting with you because you're all my buddies. Anyway, thanks again for watching. I love you guys. Subscribe. Tell others to subscribe. It's a good time. And as always, watch movies, my friend.